All right. We're going to start polar coordinates. Coordinates. All right, let me go to this. Videos. All right, let me go to... All right, I opened the section on the chat. If you have questions, just stop me and then I'll be able to answer it. So let's do polar coordinates. So normally on the rectangular coordinate system, you have x and y, and you move one, +1, +2, +1, +2, -1, negative, and so on. We call this rectangular coordinate system. Now, what we're going to do is later on when you go in a high level of mathematics, you will learn that sometimes polar coordinates will help you calculate things much better. And what is polar coordinates? Polar coordinates kind of look similar to the rectangular, but instead of having x, y, it has r, theta. What is r? R is the radius, and theta is the angle. So what we're looking at, let's look at this. We want to know what's the length of this radius, and then we want to figure out the angle. So for example, if I have this going on, not only we have to figure out the radius, now we have to figure out the angle too. What is that angle? So once we figure out the radius and the angle, we can figure out where the point is going to be. So a good example would be, let's say, I'd say 2 comma pi over 4. What does that mean? So length would be 1, 2. That's the radius, and the angle we're gonna get, this angle is pi over 4, and our final answer will be like that. Now what if I would have done like this, -2 pi over 4? So well, that's your +2, but negative makes it go other way around. Okay, so let's do +2 and pi over 4 gives you this angle, right? But because you have negative, it's going to go in the opposite direction. And your final answer will look like this, -2 pi over 4. Well, what if we would do the problem like this, a 2 comma negative pi over 4? Again, we got to figure out where's the angle. Negative pi over 4 is this angle, and your 2 is roughly over here. So let's look at, can we draw 3 comma 5 pi over 4 and 2 comma negative pi over 4? Can we draw those? I'm going to use blue color for this part. 5 pi over 4 is more than 180 degrees, so the angle is roughly somewhere over here. That's 5 pi over 4. And again, when you are graphing it, you don't have to be exact. And +3 means 1, 2, 3, roughly that. That's 3 comma 5 pi over 4. Let's look at 2 comma negative pi over 4. Oh, we did that earlier. 2 comma negative pi over 4 would be right over here. Oops, sorry. In this case, it will be smaller, right over here. What about, let's say, 3 comma 0? 3 comma 0 would be 1, 2, 3. But angle is 0, so therefore that's your angle. Now, what if I give you a problem? What if I give you a problem, say that I'm going to give you 3 comma pi over 6. 3 comma pi over 6. I want you to write the same. Let's figure this out. Where is this point is going to be? 3 comma pi over 6 would be roughly right over here. That's 3 comma pi over 6. But I want to get other polar coordinates that will land on the same point. So you have coterminal angles, right? Pi over 6 is same as 13 pi over 6. 13 pi over 6, okay? So how do we, so let me give you give you further instructions that you will get the same one. First one would be r is greater than 0 and theta is less than 0 but greater than negative 2 pi. So r still is positive, but instead of an angle going this way, I want the angle going the opposite direction. So what is the measurement of that angle? So it's a negative angle. It's pretty simple. You just subtract it and you will get what? 3 comma negative 11 pi over 6. What if I give you a problem? R is negative, but theta is from 0 to 2 pi. In that case, it's very simple. Again, we want that angle to land over here, but R being negative. So what's the negative of this side? It would be right over here. And then it needs to land right over here. So if I go negative over here, what's the measurement of this angle? That will take you right opposite side of it. So you'll get negative 3, and the angle would be 7 pi over 6. Because the reference angle over here is pi over 6, and you add pi to it, and that's your answer. The question becomes, how do you convert something x, y to r theta? It's very simple. X would be r cosine theta, and y would be r sine theta. And they're pretty simple. Let's do this way. X, y. Let's look at this way. 6 comma pi over 6. Pretty simple. X would be 6 cosine of pi over 6. And we know cosine of pi over 6 is square root of 3 over 2 times 6. When you simplify this, this is root 3.